G'day, Michael here. This video is about a lot of things all at once, but the guts of the matter is a comparison between operating systems for someone that, well, as a home user, doesn't need to be a guru, that wants to set up a computer. This comparison will be, how can I say, done in such a way that I think most novice computer users that have actually used a computer before will be able to manage what I show here. In any case, I want to demonstrate the kinds of operating systems you might use for setting up a computer. Maybe you've got an older computer, or maybe you've got a spare computer, or maybe you want to learn, or maybe you need a new business server or a new business desktop machine, and you need to explore what operating systems there are and how difficult they are to set up. Now, from this comparison, I normally like to throw in Mac OS, but for this comparison I have to exclude Mac OS because I'm throwing open the hardware. So Mac OS only runs on Mac hardware, whereas this is all about being able to use various forms of hardware. Now, Microsoft supports a fair bit of hardware. Linux supports, I'm going to say, all hardware, because you can run Linux on a Mac device, you can run it on ARM, you can run it on a Raspberry Pi. You know, there's basically a huge number of processor platforms that you can run Linux on. Microsoft is very broad for the PC market. Yeah, BSD is probably, I'm going to say, it's number 2 to Linux. That's maybe not quite a fair way of saying things, but certainly if Linux didn't exist, BSD would be it. So I'm going to just use some, I'm going to say, some consumer level distributions of Linux, FreeBSD, and of course I'm going to use Windows Home. So I'm going to use a kind of a consumer-domestic operating system install, so we can see all three of them running together. I'm not going to be running Windows updates for Windows 10 because it can take days to run updates. Also, there's been a few hold-ups with updates on Windows 10. There's been a few things that break. But in any case, that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate and just see, let's probe the whole idea of setting up 3 operating systems and how they compare. Now, this machine here, I'll just get this into the forefront. This machine here has got 12 real cores. It's got 24 gigabytes of RAM. A lot of that's swallowed up with the screen recording already. So I've got to share out the resources to 3 operating systems, so that'll be a total of 4 operating systems running on this machine. So let's see how we go. This machine, I'm hopeful it'll handle screen recording as well as running the 3 other operating systems. Alright, so let's just open VirtualBox. Now, I've got 3 that I installed yesterday as I did a mock-up of this video. I'm just going to delete them. Where am I? Remove, delete all files, remove, delete all files, remove, delete all files. Okay, so I've got a blank page. Now, there are a few things here that I need to do with setting up the new systems. I'll just start Windows. Let's do Windows 10. Let's call it Win 10, give the kid a name. 2 gigabytes of RAM, let's do that. I'll give them all 2 gigabytes, so it's about the minimum you can use on any of these modern systems. 50 gigabyte hard drive, that'll do. If you want to install software on Windows, you need a lot more than that. Yeah, next. Dynamically allocated, yep, that's cool. Yeah, I'll do that. Now, it's just done a rough default minimal setting. Now, here's what I was coming to. I'm going to set the system to give me 2 CPU cores, because one's a bit, starves it a bit. What else do I want to do? Storage. Well, I have to use a, where are we now? Here somewhere. I'm going to use a real CD-ROM. No, not a CD, DVD. With a Windows 10 image. Now, I'll put links below. These 3 operating systems are all free download, including Windows 10. It'll only give you the home use type installation without a software key. If you've got like a Windows 8 Pro or something like that, I'm not sure of the conventions for Microsoft, but you type in like a the license code, and depending on how Microsoft their permissions are set up, they may give you the full XP Pro or update, or not XP Pro, Windows 8 Pro updated to Windows 10 Pro, or whatever their licenses are. That's not the scope of this video, but you can use a free install. Some of the Microsoft allows some of the licenses to be brought into Windows 10. That's their business, and if you want to do that, that's cool, you do that. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is the network. We have the option here of network access transfer, but I'm going to use bridged, so it's going to be part of my local area network rather than being sandboxed. Now sandbox means it's sort of isolated on its own, better than firewall. It's a little bit isolated from the existing network that I have here in the office. Okay, so I'm using bridged. So let me see. In storage, I need to get that DVD going. Where are we? The host drive. Okay. So that's Windows 10 setup. I'll do a new one. I'll do Ghost BSD. Now Ghost BSD is, from what I can tell, I don't want that, we want BSD. 64-bit. From what I can tell, it's one of the easiest to install BSD systems, and the most sort of home user type setup that you can get. Now I'm a little bit divided. We'll give it 2 GB of RAM as well. Be fair. Come on. Okay, Windows 2 GB. We're going to give BSD 2 GB. Next. I want to give it about 32-ish gigabytes. That'll do. Not super critical. Settings. So I'll do the same settings. System, processor. I'll give it 2 cores. Oh, 2. Storage. This one I'll use a image, which is Ghost BSD. That's cool. So that's not a real DVD or USB stick or anything like that. It's just a file of an image. I'll go check that I did everything. So system, I need 2 CPUs. That's cool. We've got storage was just taken care of. Network, we've got to do bridged. Okay. So that way, these systems, just remind you, the bridge will participate in the network here fully, as if it was another computer physically plugged into the wiring on the network. New. I do Linux. I'm going to call it, which one should I use? I'll use Ubuntu mode. That's got the same desktop environment as the free BSD one that I've got, the Ghost BSD. Yeah, that's right, it's cool. 64-bit, next. I'll give it 2 GB of RAM. Whoops. Oh, it's not going to listen to me. No. That's it. 2 GB of RAM there. I'm going to give it about 30 or 40 GB too. Now if you want to learn about installing operating systems, with Windows you'd be better off with at least 80 GB to do anything useful. Linux and BSD seem to be happy with about 40 GB. So you could have an old computer that's got like 40 GB hard drive and one of the 2 open source systems, and you'll be able to install stacks of software, stacks of useful software. You won't be flat out running Windows with its eyes open, let alone any software you want installed. So you have to have enough resources available. Yeah, great, that'll do. Not too fussed. Settings, system, processor, two CPUs, storage. That's cool, that one. Ubuntu Mate 18.04. Okay. Network, again bridged. Now this will kick the stuffing out of the machine. I hope the screen recording holds up. So I'll start Windows 10 first. Boom. Ghost BSD, start. Ubuntu, start. That's all 3 of those going. So I'll put Ubuntu up here. You can see how busy this machine is. That's the Windows 10. Okay, so you can see the sort of, how's that going? While they're all booting. Okay, now I'm going to click on Try Ubuntu Mate, and that'll give us a workable desktop, so you can use that to just test it out and see if you like what you see. And Windows is asking for the next stage, so I'll do that. Install now. Let's do that. Now what's really cute, now BSD's gone straight into a live distro desktop. It's already got the drivers for virtual machines. You wait for a few seconds, that'll resize. Ubuntu does not, so it won't resize. Okay, this is asking for a password, Windows 10. I'm just going to say I don't have a product key. I do, but I don't for this exercise. Oh no, I've got about 30 Windows licenses. I don't use any of them. Windows 10 Home. So this is like a home user basic install. It'll be the quickest Windows install too, because the license restrictions aren't there. Now, I accept the agreement. Next. Yes. Ask the 20 questions. Okay, so that's busy. Good. Right, now this BSD installation has actually got software available already. Even though it's not installed, we've even got Office software, sound and video, internet. Let's use Firefox. So it's up and running. Let that load. I'm going to close this window, and Ubuntu Mate has got the same sort of thing. So there's Firefox, but it hasn't got the smarts for a virtual machine's screen. Right, on a real machine it'll even run a 4K monitor straight off the bat. So hardware wise, if you're on a real computer, Ubuntu works a lot better. Alright, so both Linux and BSD have given us a workable operating system. We've got Office packages, special administration tools, accessories. So you can use these two open source ones. You can boot them up as a live distribution and then mount the hard drives on your computer. Like let's say Windows has died on a laptop or Apple. Because I've done this, I've rescued both Windows machines and Apple machines with the live distro of Linux. You can copy files off the hard drive, but you've also got some graphics software and so forth already installed, so you can certainly view photos and things like that. On these virtual machines I have nothing yet, so we can't really play with that. But you've got a handsome set of software options running on these two live distributions. Anyway, let's move along. Down the bottom here, you may or may not see them. You can see there's 4 rectangles, gives us desktops. I might start the install process. Might do the same here. This is also using the Mate desktop. So where's my rodent gone? I might just go install Ghost BSD. Windows has been installing while I've been talking. Let's get going here. Next. Then I'm back in where Ghost BSD. There's my rodent. Next. Cool. We're in Australia. Sydney's the same time zone. I'm going to use regular one day I'll be finished. The mouse is a bit touchy here for some reason. Password. So Windows had a hell of a head start with the installation. Come on, talk to me. I feel busy, you're not going to listen to me. Okay, real name. That'll do fine. It's only a demo anyway. Install. So you can see the other two have had a good head start. Right, let's get out of that thing. Leave it running. Continue. US, that's cool. Now you can get in third-party software like proprietary codecs, etc. Not sure whether I should install that because the other two won't do it. Ah, bugger it, I'll leave it running. So it's going to be a longer install. Install now. I'm just using defaults on that because they're pretty smart. Yep. So it's going to install updates, at least one round of updates, and it's going to install the proprietary codec. So it's going to be installing a lot more on this than BSD will be installing. Waiting. What's also worth noting, both the open source systems will actually take care of the software updates for everything you've installed. The software actually comes from their own, well, managed in their own repositories. Microsoft doesn't have that same range. They rely on third-party vendors of software. Still going. There we go. It's already picked my time zone. I haven't had to choose it. User. That'll do. So, and we're away. While I've been answering the questions, it's already been copying files. Whereas the other two are waiting for my questions before they started. Windows has done its first, well, it's in its first reboot. How long has this recording been running? 17 minutes so far. As you can see, the install process has been running pretty smoothly between the three. But, I mean, Ubuntu's had the hell of a handicap because I started much later. I was aiming to get them all going at the same time, but there's too much to explain. I'll put links in the description below for the three places to download these three operating systems if you want to give them a try. Now, of course, they've all got their splash screens running. We can see what this thing's up to. Give me enough room. There's not enough room in this screen. Use express settings. I'm just going to use the fastest method I can for Windows. Whereas I've basically used the slowest method I can on Ubuntu. Getting software off the internet, getting critical updates. Okay. Second update, reboot for Windows. skip this step. Now if you wanted to set up all accounts and things, you can do that, but I'm going to ignore that. I'll just remind you that both these open source operating systems are useful at the moment. We can use web browser, we can maybe go to a YouTube page, might just close that one. So if you needed help to do something, you can actually open YouTube, let's say, and have a look. So so if you needed to have a bit of a look at a video, work out what you've got to do, you're lost, you need help, you can use a web browser to find that. I'm going to close this because I don't really have much RAM on these systems. Close those tabs. Sound's working. Go back to this thing. Might do the same here. Oops. Jumpy mouse. Okay, so server not found. That sounds like we don't have internet. Double check what that does. Go away. And apparently we do not have network, which is a bit annoying. Or something's wrong with the internet. I'll leave that in peace. Okay, so the only one that's really useful is Ubuntu. But it doesn't have the screen driver. BSD has the screen driver, so I can resize the VirtualBox, and it's quite happy to resize. Windows also does not have any sort of driver for that. Oh, yeah, I want to connect to the network. That's cool. Now, to enable that same sort of driver level on Windows is fairly simple, but it's not provided by Microsoft. It's provided by the VirtualBox environment. So I'm going to remove the DVD. Okay, so now I'm going to insert guest editions ISO. Okay, so that should detect. Okay, Windows has come up. Let's run it. So until this is installed, I can't use the operating system properly. I'm restricted to this silly size. How's this thing going? Restart now, so Linux is ready for restart. Install. So Linux has actually already done the install. Windows is on its third restart. Okay, we've got a better screen. What are we talking about here? Restart. Oh, rodent. So this should be resizable now with a bit of luck. Yes? No? Hello. Maybe we've got to be patient. Okay, so that worked. I don't think Ubuntu is rescalable. Just wait for a second. No, it's not. Okay, but it is saying there is more updates to do. Now what's interesting about the updates, well, I've been notified of the updates. It hasn't hijacked the machine, given me a blue screen with a spin wheel saying, look, don't turn me off. It's saying, do you want to do it? So the updates are running. Got to give it a password to say it's okay to install them. Okay, so what are we doing there? That's busy. Back to Windows. Alright, so let's see what software we can get for Windows, maybe for productive purposes, like maybe you want to do some, I don't know, office work, or you want to do maybe accounting, or you want to do some CAD work or something. Let's just click on the Play Store. Just increase that size, that's useful. What have we got? Spotify, Netflix, yeah, that sort of stuff's everywhere. New films. Got any more? Top free apps. Okay, what have we got here? That's it, is it? So we can install VLC. Facebook, yeah, right. Okay, so that doesn't really inspire me. Let's see if I've got a network on this thing yet. That's disappointing if we don't. So the network and everything's working on Windows. Server not found. Nice. Now I've randomly had this on installations where it does and doesn't work. Only workaround I've seen that's sort of quickly accessible, which basically has just ruled this out as a you've only got a network proxy setting, which we don't really want. Control center, accessories, root terminal. Okay, DH client. What about US? What about? We have to get our internet, our network. What does it show us? Nothing. No, we've got nothing there. All right, so ifconfig. EM0. Well, it's got the right sort of IP address. Where's it? EM0. If I do a reload here, is that going to work? Nope, not happy. Ah, we haven't restarted the system. Have we? No, we haven't restarted the system. So what am I doing? I'm doing something silly. What I need to do is eject that CD-ROM. My mistake. Silly me. To restart the machine. That was a mistake. Hello. Force the shutdown. Of course, because I've reduced, it was running a live distro from that CD or DVD image. It didn't like it being ejected. So when that's finished. Okay, so Windows is currently usable. Ubuntu is currently usable. I made a mistake on GhostBSD. My mistake. Just Let's make sure that storage device is gone now. It is. Okay, start. So we can't install any sort of productive software, useful software that you could either use for school or you could use for a business. There's nothing useful on Microsoft. I might just see if we can do a web search for maybe get software. Hello, get software. Type would be good. Get software. Okay, so basically that's a web search, complete a web search. There's nothing sort of Microsoft centric, and so you'd have to go to whatever vendor. So I'll just go install this thing, start this thing. See if we've got a network now. Ping www.google.com. Okay. Live config. DM0. Okay. So SU DH client DM0. Oops. 0. That looks tasty. Is that working? That looks like it might work. So let's just try. Watch the ping again. Oopsie. That's a working. Okay, so now we have internet. That's the only workaround I've found that's quickly at hand. There'll be, with a bit of research, you'd find where the settings are for it. So I'll just leave it at that for the moment. Firefox web browser. That appears to be happy. Right. So that's probably a bit of a tip you'll need if you have a problem with it. Let's see what YouTube does. See if it plays the videos without any grief. I'm confident Windows will do that, so I'm not really going to bother with that. That's working fine. So I'm just actually going to stop that. Okay. Control center. Most of the settings that are usable on the Mate desktop is in this control center. Where's my rodent gone? There. So let's check for updates. Might let that do its thing. I'll go to the no updates available, it says. Okay, so that's not true, but for some reason it's not connecting. Alright, so what have we got here? Oh yes, now on Linux, let's get something rolling there. Let's see what we can get in the way of software there. So what I'm going to do is go down to Control Center. Software Boutique. I'll close that. Put that to load the software. So, BSD is doing that. Let's say I want to install a graphics package. I'm looking for a package called GIMP. Now we can check out details of the package if you want to find out what it's all about, and you can go to their website, etc. But I know that I want to install it, so I'm just going to go install. And you can pick a whole lot of software and go, yeah, let's do all of that. Bulk queue, apply the changes. So it'll go off and install the software, whatever you've chosen. This, oh, there you go, password. Right, so that's off doing that. The same sort of thing happens here. Let's do exactly the same search in BSD. Now GIMP is a package very equivalent to Photoshop. I'm waiting. You can do it. Good. Alright, now we've got... So, both the open source systems give us the ability to download and install software, you know, with the tick of a box sort of thing. So it's quite simple now. It's doing its download. They're both installing much the same package. But if you notice here, GIMP data extras. I'd have to tick that here manually. With this easy sort of mum and dad's type install, it actually gives us quite a bit of that software. Right, so that's one way you can install software. Another way you can install software on Linux is from the command line. So where are we? Accessories maybe? System tools, there we go. Make terminal. Then you can just drop whatever you want to use. You can actually put it up in the top taskbar, then it's launchable just from a single click. Okay, so sudo. Sudo is what you use. Might just make that a bit larger for you to read. Sudo apt install whatever package. I don't know. Midnight Commander is one I want to install. What's another one I want to install? Let's do actually Synaptic, which brings me to another point, so I'll do that. Synaptic. Okay, so I've asked that sudo is to make me administrator, apt is to the advanced package tool, install is what I want to do, and MC and Synaptic are the two packages I want to install. So if you know the name of the package, this is definitely the quickest way to do it. If you don't know the package, you use the other method. That appears to be done, but data extras is not installed. In a second we'll be able to see what Ubuntu's installed. Okay, so we've just installed Synaptic. If I close this window, you can see Synaptic Package Manager is turned up in our control center. Now this is a finer grained software package. You can read the blurb on that. I'm not going to bother with this episode because you know, I've just got to get on with it. Now what I want to do is I want to install the drivers for VirtualBox. Now on Windows it did not have any support for VirtualBox, but VirtualBox provided the support for Windows. BSD had it all up and running, no need to install it. And Linux, I'm going to have to install those drivers because I can't resize the screen. Right. So I've just typed in VirtualBox as my search. You can see that's my summary. So I'm going to scroll down, and what we're after is VirtualBox guest utils. Hopefully it'll need that. Right, so let's install that. X11. So those three items, pretty sure is all I need for installing VirtualBox on the drivers, so I can resize the screen to whatever I like. To show you what that means on this, if I bang that to the side, it'll fill the whole screen any second now. There we go. So I was able to make that window whatever size I like, and the workspace fills out that space. So now I'll just go apply those changes on the Linux to be installed. We can check out what we're going to get done. And there's a lot of stuff it's going to install. So it's found whatever it depends on, any dependencies, together, and off it goes. It's going to download those files. We can watch them happen. Okay, so it's still installing GIMP. Okay, so that sorry, I didn't quite read that right. So now GIMP is installed. We've installed GIMP already, and we've installed some other software. We've installed Synaptic. Yeah, so the install on Linux was much faster. Yeah, so BSD for some reason is much slower. I don't understand why. Must be the way their packages are managed or whatever. And it's not possible on Windows. So I guess we're seeing a few things going on here. Windows installed pretty nicely. But there's no software available. You have to have licensed software, or you have to scratch around the internet to find those packages. You could, for argument's sake, install GIMP on Linux, Windows, but you'd have to find the software together. And these other things that we only need to tick a box here on BSD, you actually have to find those bits and pieces together. So when you install GIMP on Windows, you actually don't get, well, actually that much of it. You kind of get the core stuff, but not not the fancy tricks that you might want to really explore. Okay, so this is nearly finished, the VirtualBox. Now, it's creating VirtualBox client drivers for the kernel, so it will require a reboot for this to work properly. Like I said, BSD already had this. Windows required a reboot also. Get these words out. Right. Any second now, I should be able to reboot. Yes. So this will be Linux's second reboot after this has been done. So I'll just close that window. Restart that. So Windows is actually not that useful once you install it. And if we do go to do some updates, let's do that. Let's get some updates happening. Because Ubuntu has done all its updates. For some reason, FreeBSD has not found its updates. I know there are updates to do. Check for updates. Let's do that now. Okay. And it is important to keep updates running. Well, it should be important to keep updates running because basically you have security patches. But a lot of people have lost data from Windows 10 updates. There's quite a bit going on around the internet talking about various things. Downloading updates, so that's cool. So now, I should be able to do any second now. Okay, so it was able to resize. So now everything's working perfect on this. But you notice those drivers are actually managed by the Linux installation. So you don't have to rely on third-party vendors. It's all taken care of within the system. Okay, so what did I install? I just installed GIMP, right? So graphics. Oh, that's another thing you may notice. On both the open source systems, the software is sorted in categories of what they do, not a vendor name. If you look at Windows, let's just go here, let's just do that, all apps, you've got some funny things like under G you've got Get Office and Get Skype and Get Started. Perhaps I'd be looking for Office. Perhaps I'd be looking for Skype. Yeah. So there's been a lot going on around the internet. Windows installs like Candy Crush. Well, why would you need Candy Crush if you want to set up a business computer? Yes, it's not very well. I don't know. Just it's not logical to me. It's busy downloading still. That's cool. It's allowed to do that. Alright, so where was I? GIMP, graphics. Now, it first opens up as sort of multi-window, which is okay if you've got lots of screens. You might want to put certain, like the toolboxes on other monitors. Or, I might just enlarge it slightly, Windows, single window mode, and you can make it sort of one single window. So that's up to you how you want to use it. That's cool, whatever. But what I might do is run Synaptic again. So where are we? Control Center. Run Synaptic. And this time I'm going to search for GIMP. Let's just see what we got installed with that search with GIMP. Now you might remember the FreeBSD, which should come up to speed now. Had only GIMP installed, nothing else, and it took ages to install. So get out of there. Now we've already got GIMP, GIMP data extras, GIMP data, but we can add some extras. Let's do UF-RAW. That's for handling raw images from various proprietary cameras. Yep. That's also adding in lens fun, which is for handling camera distortions from lenses. So if you want to make panoramas and things, you can distort the image. We might want to have a thumbnailer so we can see, even though they're XCF files, which are GIMP specific, they'll show up as icons on the desktop. What just happened there? Did I do that right? Too much talking, not enough focusing. Mark for installation. Mark. Okay, cool. We can install ICC profiles. Mark for installation. Mark for installation. Now they're good for matching monitors and printers and stuff like that. So to a relatively standard color set. Obviously reflective light. Reflective light, which is subtractive, or where you a monitor produces light by assembling RGB, and printing subtracts light by starting with a white page and subtracting colors. So you get, it's built differently. Okay, there's one for creating panoramas with GIMP. Let's search for something else, maybe, I don't know, panorama. So if you want to take like lots of photos and assemble them as a panorama, there's actually quite a few bits and pieces you can use. Obviously that GIMP plugin, but probably one of the best ones, Hugen. It will read, pixels off each image, and it'll correct for lenses, assemble them, and you can assemble it as a layout for a cylindrical panorama or like a flat print on the wall. So there's lots of projection methods, and it handles all of that really well. So let's say I've done that. What's another one? We could search for CAD maybe. Well, that's a bit too long-winded. You can look up a summary, visit their homepage, give it a few seconds. I actually don't know what that is. It says electronic schematics and PCB design software. No Firefox profile. Why is that? Odd. Okay. May not have been launched since I rebooted this. Okay, so I'll try that again. Visit homepage. What's that doing? 2, 3, 4. Yes. Okay. Just I hadn't launched Firefox, so it wasn't running. But now it'll work fine. Okay, so here you can see what it's all about, what you can do with it, some sample designs of things that have been designed with it. So you can see it's actually quite a useful, looks like commercially viable if you're doing that sort of work. Very cool. Okay, well what about, I'll just install that. Let's just go apply. We'll do the same on the FreeBSD. So that's actually commercial software for creating printed circuit boards by the sound of it. Not that I've done it, so I'm not the guru on that subject. Alright, so let's do, maybe, we've got CAD, there's CAD in that category there. Let's just have a look at that. I'll actually maximise this window so get some territory to work with. Come on. Okay, a few seconds to resize. Okay, that was KiCad, wasn't it? Look at that, KiCad. What else we got here? OpenSCAD. Now it's a script-based CAD system, very useful. Very common for 3D printed files. If you download 3D printed files, you might use OpenSCAD for generating gears and things like that. So it's very clever. Okay, PCB. QCAD. That's a very efficient, fast 2D CAD program. Let's install that. I think I've just done that. Yes, it's off and installing. You can see down the bottom there, it's running. That's been done. Okay, so we've just installed a heap of software on both these systems. So I've used Synaptic on this, I've used the command line. How about we look at, I'll go back to Control Center, as we can. The software boutique, so it's the sort of simple way, the kiddies way, mums and dads way kind of thing, rather than the guru way. It's loading. let's install Blender. Now Darktable is a photography workflow program, rather like Darkroom. Oh, yeah, sorry, Lightroom, isn't it? Lightroom. Darktable. Yeah. So we can install that too. Let's go apply. So that was a very easy way of looking at it. But what we can also do is, oh, it needs a password. Let's do that. Let's see what it's up to. So it's downloading a lot of the stuff. This one done? It is. Excellent. So we should have in graphics, I hope. No, come up here. Do we have QCAD? We don't. Why don't we have QCAD? Accessories? No. Okay, so I'm in that program. I might. Alt F2 should give me a command line. Let's do QCAD, see what that does. So that's not functional for some reason. So that's not quite working as expected. QCAD? No. Let's have a sticky beat, see where that's. So it's not quite as smoothly coordinated as one would expect. Where's my mouse? Here we are. Open. User, bin, maybe QCAD? That'd be really bad if it was there. So I have to go scratching around for it. Yeah. P, Q. No, can't see QCAD there. Okay, so let's see what it's like on the Linux arrangement. So we'll just close that now, we're done. So if I went menu, graphics, we've got Yugen, the batch processor, we've got Blender. Now this is in a virtual machine, so it doesn't have a real 3D graphics adapter, and Blender relies on a 3D graphics adapter, so I'm not sure how well it'll go on this virtual machine. Just see how we go. Well, it appears to be loading. A bit slow. But if I gave it a few more CPU cores and a bit more RAM, I might get better results still. But that's actually worked, so that's cool. So, alright, so with graphics, KiCad was it? Not there. That might be in programming or something like that. All, favorites, accessories, administration, education, graphics, internet, office. Too slow. I'm going to start typing it in up here. KiCad. No such luck. So KiCad is a bit buried for some reason. That's what it was called, wasn't it? That's it. Did I install it? I thought I did install it. Because everything else I've asked for is installed. We've got Blender, Darktable, Yugen. Interesting. I'll just check whether it's installed. So, Control Center. Just see that it did actually install it. KiCad, whatever you want to call it. No, I didn't install it. Okay, so I can live with that. Mark for installation. Yeah, let's do that. Apply. My mistake. Now see how this desktop's busy? We can go to another desktop. Down the bottom here we've got those multiple squares. It's followed me around. It's still following me around. Okay, so I'll just put it out of harm's way. So we'll get back on the first desktop. Do all of that. It's going pretty good considering it's only got 2 GB of RAM. Let's go to blender.org to see what Blender can actually do. Because I'm not a guru of Blender, but you may be that guru. Blender.org, did I type that right? Yep, good, go. So let's see what people have done with Blender. Support, get involved. What have we got going on here? Does all sorts of things, including animation, video editing. I've really got to get good at that. I haven't yet. Support Blender, make your own. We've got just like a gallery here somewhere. 25th birthday. Wow. Blender Institute, Blender Network. Don't know. Google. Why are we getting Google involved? I think I might have to free up some RAM. I might be too busy. Okay, that's not quite what I was looking for. Yeah, you can see what people have been doing. Drive, sync, download, tutorials. Let's see what that, open projects. Let's try that. Anyway, long story. I could get stuck in that for ages. I'm not going to wait. Bugger it. Alright, so another program you might want to use is like Inkscape. Inkscape is a... Where's my control center? Go back there. Go back to our boutique. Inkscape is a vector editing program, a bit like Adobe Illustrator or Corel Draw, that kind of thing. Not that. Yep. Inkscape. Let's see the details. Inkscape.org. Let's see what they do with that. Gallery. Anytime. Gallery, do that way. Now this is just a 2D drawing package. It's designed for like graphic artists. And as you can see, that's actually pretty good. A 2D drawing, a vector drawing. It saves in SVG, so it's common file system. You know, it's it's a common file type. Can even be opened in a web browser. So this is actually quite a nice job of an image of Sandra Bullock drawn in a 2D vector program. So it's basically as good as you need. Okay, so there's quite a lot of software that's productive, business oriented, and of course it's already got Office packages. So if you've got Word documents and things you've got to open, LibreOffice does that job quite nicely. You can do everything from what you might imagine a PowerPoint presentation is, through to you can even import PDF files and edit them. So it's kind of cute. LibreOffice also opens like DXF files, which are CAD drawings. So it's a very useful, general purpose sort of Office package as well. You know, you see the spreadsheet, drawing, presentation, so some animation possible. Yeah, a lot there. So there's a lot going on. What else we got? Programming, of course. Linux is well known for programming. So where's our Windows 10? So you can see that the Windows 10 is a very poor equivalent, and our update is taking forever. Wowie. Okay, so we've seen the full update to everything on the Ubuntu Mate. Wow. So as soon as we involve updates, Windows just basically has lost its productivity, and we can't get any decent software without having to buy a license. There's a couple of advantages with open source software. My favourite is it's free, as in like speech, not free as in beer. So there's no strings attached. You're allowed to use it. That's it. You're allowed to share it. You're allowed to teach others how to use it. You're allowed to install it on 23 computers if you have them. So if you learn how to use a package that's open source, you can install it wherever you like and just use it. So there's no big deal there. The other thing is, of course, open source software, because there's no cost, you can try it. And it's not just a 30-day trial. You can try it for as long as you like and decide you don't like it later on, or do like it, whatever. There's no stress. What I tend to do every so often is to throw a couple of dollars in a donation bucket for the various open source packages when I download them. Now those open source packages are available for Windows. So if you like Windows, you can put them on Windows, but on Linux it just works. There's a bit of weirdness going on with FreeBSD, which I do not understand. But I guess I'm stuck with really two operating systems that hold out as good for noobs. And I think we're looking at them right now. We've got Windows and Linux. And to my mind, because of software availability, Linux is actually a lot better. Yeah, I did an OS comparison some time ago, a couple of years back, where I compared Linux, Windows and Mac. Yeah, it was clear to me which one was a winner back then, but it's even more so clear now. Well, how about setting up printers? I haven't looked at that yet. Well, let's set up printers. Let's go. Printers. They're already set up. I haven't done anything. Now, I will say there's a small cheat happened here, and that is that this machine is set up with a CUPS client, a fully set up CUPS client. So it just goes out and discovers what is shared by other computers. Now, let's just go to a desktop on my host machine. It's clear. And look at the printer settings on it. Where have you gone? You're not here. I'll put you on every desktop so you follow me around. Okay, so I'll go to this other desktop there. Okay, so you've come with me. Right, that's another thing that I like about Linux. You've got multiple desktops. You see all that going on. And this machine's coping quite well. Now what was I doing? I was doing something a second ago. What was that? Oh yes, printers. So, oh no, I can just start typing what the hell it is I'm looking for. Printers, there we go, already there. Now those printers that it found are the ones that are already available on this machine. Right, so if I needed to set up those printers actually on that machine, I'll show you how that's done as well. So this has just automatically happened without any effort from me. So these are the printers that are just working. To prove that just working, I've got this label writer right here in front of me. Where are we? I've just bumped the camera. So there's the output of the label writer. You get properties. Let's print a test page. Now this is in that virtual machine. I haven't installed anything. That's how it works. That easy. So if you've got a Linux machine already set up, you can capitalize on it by not having to set up any other machines. They just work. That's how beautiful that is. And you can even do that if you walk in the room with an iPhone, hop on the local area network through the Wi-Fi, you can immediately print from an iPhone or an iPad or whatever. Also from an Apple computer. So if you've got one Linux machine set up with all the printers, any Apple device can use them straight off the bat without installation. You just open the print dialog in your web browser or whatever it is, and you can print. And that's it. So there's no setup at all. So to me, that's a hugely productive thing. So if you like using Apple in as your computer ecosystem, that's cool. That doesn't matter. But having one Linux machine on the network with your printers connected, all your configuration problems go away. You just plug the machines in and you can print. And you get all the settings that are available on the Linux drivers, which is all of the settings. Okay, so you can see we've got various settings for that little Dymo printer. That's cool. Now, if that Lexmark, if I wanted to install that Lexmark directly on here, let's do that. Let's see what's around. Just got to wait for it to scan the network. And this is what it's found on the network, not as, just make that a bit larger so I can see it a bit better. It tells you where they're plugged in. Now this one is its own service. Now Baker.local is another Linux machine that's in the house, so it's connected across the network in the house. This is the one that's on the machine I just showed you. So we can make a direct connection with the driver installed on this client, or we can just use the existing running system. But let's go to that Lexmark, my laser printer, and set it up directly. It's already got that set correctly, so I'll just go forward, searching for drivers. Let it load drivers. And I'm going to go Lexmark, wherever we are, anytime. There we go, Lexmark. It hasn't got the exact model number, that's why it didn't automatically detect. Some printers, if it detects them happily, it'll just install the driver and that's the end of it. It just asks you whether you want a test page. You don't even have to set anything, it just works. Okay, so Optra, where are we? T616 is near enough, it works. There's actually quite a few drivers that'll work with, but yeah, let's do that. Would I like a printer test page? Yeah, let's do that. It'll take a few seconds to wake up. The light's flashing, that'll do its thing. Alright, so let's go back to Windows. Let's see about setting up that. So I'm just going to type in here, talk to me. Printer. Printers and scanners. Devices and printers. Alright, let's just see what that does. So it's installed that one, and it's installed that one by itself, so that's gone pretty smoothly. Where's the Lexmark? Add a device. Okay, there's our test page that I asked from in the Linux installation here. That's it there. So it even gives you a border to see how balanced and centered the print is. So that was very easy to set up, okay? Now when you consider that Lexmark supports both PostScript and PCL, so it's very tolerant for the drivers. The only thing that might be a little bit out is, you know, which options are available, duplex, not that sort of thing. Okay, that's found nothing. Nice. So it's installed what it could find, and it found two things anyway. So it's kind of done a nice job, but not a very full job. We saw here when I went add, I'll just do that again, just see what it finds. Okay, but there is a nice little workaround you can for Windows. So if you want to set up your Windows for doing this, where am I? Close that. That's still busy. Here we go. Hello. If I wanted to just, it's bonjour. That's right, bonjour for Windows. Download, that's the one. That was it. So it's an Apple program written for Windows. Come on. It's a pretty quick install, so it's a worthwhile download if you're going to use Windows. Waiting. Run. We'll see what it finds. Yep, just do it. But again, you've got to go through the whole security thing because it is a third-party piece of software. And Windows has to protect itself from potential risks. So you can see with the Linux installation, did not have to because it's all managed. Get it out of harm's way. Actually, I might minimise it. Minimise that. Really? Yes. Yeah. Finish. Now let's just give that a run. So if you're having trouble detecting printers, Bonjour certainly speeds that up. It's already detected that and installed it, so I won't bother with that. But there's the Lexmark Optro, which Windows itself could not find, but Bonjour could. Next. Got hardly any drivers to pick. Generic. Really? PCL 6. All saying PCL 6. Trouble is PCL 6 may not be fully supported. Let's just try it anyway. I don't know. Let's try it. Next. Finish. So what happened? Well, let's try that. Properties. It says it's working properly. That doesn't really mean anything. Okay, let's do a print test page. Okay, test page. Test page. Should be able to print a test page shortly. Paper quality. Advanced. A4, that's cool. Can we do a test page? Alright, there must be a simple way of doing this, that I'm missing something. Surely there's a test page. What am I missing? Cancel. Okay. That seems so illogical to me. It's not funny. Okay, anyhow, I think we've got a test page going on. Nope, we've got an error page going on. Okay, so evidently the driver's not happy. So that was not easy. Preferences, no. Ports, advanced. Close. Nope. New driver. Is there any more on that list? Lexmark. What's that got in it? It's looking good. What? T6. Oh, I'll try that, maybe. It's a 620, so it's a bit scary. Finish. Why? Test page. Looks like it's just dropped it. That's a bit tricky. Alright, how about the label writer? What's with that? Cancel. Bonjour again. Next. Dymo? We've got Dymo on there. Don't care, it's not right. Do you find this very disjointed? New driver. Have Dymo on there? No. So what I'm going to have to do is download the driver if I want that to work. So you can see it's a bit more lumpy. With Linux, there is on the Ubuntu. Let's do the direct connection here too. Dymo label writer. This time I'm going to use. I can use the remote cups because that's. Let's say I was using it via a Windows connection because we can do that too. Browse. Need some extra software. Password. I need to close something. What have I got going? That's what I've got going. Close. Software boutique has to be closed too. Synaptic's still going. Okay. Right. Okay, now it's working. Do that again. Okay, now I've got a server there. No, I don't. IP. Direct. we should have a Samba printer. No, who cares? I'd have to make sure the server is set up for Samba print services. LPR? Don't know. Well, let's just have a look differently. Let's just have a look. Home folder. Browse network. Well, here it is on the network, so here we go. No, it's not happy that way. Okay, so security reasons have stopped me from using that print. I might just double check what we've got here on the host computer. Where are we? Have I got that thing shared? Shared, yes. Okay, server, settings. Live printing from the internet? No. Advanced server settings? No. So there's nothing too easy there. So I'm only going to stick to what we can do easily, not set up the Samba service. Okay, to set up Windows service on this machine, I have to install some software called Samba. That's outside the scope of this thing. Okay, so I've just set this up as a basic, still long-winded video for installing software on the 3 potential candidates for setting up a computer yourself. Right, now I probably didn't show you how to download and install this stuff, so let's go back to the beginning. Close tabs. So let's go to this first desktop here. Okay, so you might choose an operating system to download. Now you can see here I've got a number of images downloaded. I've used transmission. Now what transmission is all about is it's downloading torrents. If you're using Windows as your first machine to download things, you're going to have to install something for downloading torrents. Either that or you have to load directly from the web server. Okay, so with this one, this is Linux Mint XFCE. I've just downloaded that. Where are we? There it is there. Here's the torrent for it. If you wanted Windows, you'd have to download from the Microsoft server. Here we can actually download different operating systems from a dedicated server. Let's say Ubuntu. Ubuntu download. So you type in whatever you're looking for. Ubuntu. Okay, here we go. May not have picked the optimal one, but this is one. You click on download. You do a donation. I'm not going to do that for the moment. Anyhow, we can do a direct download like that, so save file, but then you determine your speed is determined by the server at the other end to see how quick it is. Alternatively, you can use like a torrents download, which you can probably find. Where are we? Download. Ubuntu desktop. Where are we? I tend to like Ubuntu Mate, so let's click on that. You can even get it for Raspberry Pi. Download. Hear that? Choose different architecture, so you can see if you've got different machinery. You can even download it for older Macs. Do 64-bit. No, that one. We can download the torrent, and then we'll see that's already downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again. But if you were to download it, you'd end up getting that torrent, open with transmission. Couldn't add duplicate, so it's already there. But it would then download this. But what the torrents do is it not only gives you a faster download, but once you've downloaded it, it becomes, your machine becomes a server to the other machines on the network. So you provide a small amount of an upload. So you end up being a helper to the network. So using the torrents, you actually help everyone else get it faster. So they're also helping you get it faster. So it's kind of a really it's a good way of pooling resources to get the data shared around. Anyhow, that's already downloaded, so I'm not going to redo that. So while I've been sitting here, my machine has been helping other people download that software too. So yeah. Well, I hope that long-winded hoo-ha procedure has been of use to you. But I guess my summary is I'm looking at the two top systems, and if you want to explore open source software, then Linux is just way better. As you can see, everything works a lot more smoothly. The install's quick, the update's quick. How's this thing going with updates? It's still updating. Not to mention that, but when this updates, you'll get that blue screen to say, oh look, just wait, I can't do anything because there's, I've got to download or install or whatever. Don't turn me off. So the updates, once they're installing, they're very disruptive on Windows. On Linux, you saw there was hardly any disturbance at all. Basically, more of a nuisance that there was something on the screen. That's it. Well, I hope that's of interest to you. I hope that's of use to you. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, ask a question, leave a comment.